hallucinate, desegregate, mediate, alleviate, try not to hate, love your mate, don't suffocate.
Hi, my name's Laura and this is my presentation for EDC1200 Self-Education and Society. I've chosen a somewhat divisive but increasingly relevant social issue to address the notion of education as a vehicle to mediate difference and dominance. The social issue I've selected is gay marriage, and more specifically, how gay marriage, and thus homosexuality, was marginalised by the event of the Katter's Australian Party advertisement that appeared on television during the Queensland state election campaign earlier this year. First, I'll provide a little background on why the issue is relevant to all Australians, particularly educators and students alike. In May this year, US President Barack Obama famously came out, so to speak, in support of gay marriage in a backflip from his previous feelings on the matter. Following Obama's self-proclaimed evolution in thinking on this issue, when Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard was asked by various media outlets whether her position had changed, she reaffirmed her long-held opinion that gay marriage is inappropriate. The Australian newspaper cites her as saying, "I've made my position clear and that's the position I'll take into the Parliament." It's important to note here that as our elected Prime Minister, Gillard is, in many ways, the most visible representative of our national identity to other nations. Recently, Katter's Australian Party, a newly formed Queensland-based political party founded by Bob Katter, released a television advertisement warning that their current political opponent Campbell Newman was in support of gay marriage. This advertisement is my selected social event for the purposes of this assignment. It featured the images currently shown on the screen. The juxtaposition of a supposedly ideal, wholesome Australian family with the deliberately confronting image of a supposedly gay couple is a point of interest. The words, "That's right, he supports gay marriage," imply that gay marriage is a threatening concept and that equality in this sense should not permeate Australian values. This event represents clear notions of difference and dominance and is an ideal contemporary issue for an educator to utilise in order to examine how certain identity locations are privileged and accepted while others are marginalised and dominated. This demonisation of gay marriage, as Austin and Hickey 2012 would say, affects all Australians, including secondary schoolers, by essentially reinforcing the message that homosexuality is wrong. The ad provides ample opportunity for students to explore how public pedagogies come to shape our understanding of the world around us. As Marion Lewis in Austin 2005 says, there is a growing expectation that what students learn at school and the attitudes they develop towards lifelong learning will continue to have a significant influence on their lives, helping them to shape their futures. With this in mind, I've formulated a curriculum regarding the notions of difference, dominance, and diversity using the advertisement as a starting point. This curriculum is aimed at Year 11 and 12 students. As this is potentially a sensitive topic, it's important to keep the lessons age appropriate and strongly discourage any intentional discrimination or harassment of other students. The students would attend a weekly hour-long lesson for a school term. The primary objective of the overall course is to promote understanding and combat negative notions of difference and diversity in both an educational setting and in the broader community. For the purposes of this assignment, I've called the curriculum Thinking Outside the Box. The educative episodes I have come up with attempt to encourage students to shift their identities through critical thinking exercises in order to reduce the occurrence of negative othering within the school environment. The exercises culminate in a collaborative blog authored primarily by the students, which focuses on the issues of difference and dominance using the homosexual community as a focus point. This blog will also promote fairness and equality and work to eliminate prejudice. Each student would contribute a piece to the blog which would be mediated by the teacher, and the blog could be referred to other classes but also to people in the wider community. Identity formation is at a critical period during adolescence and late teenage years, and sexuality constitutes a large part of identity. The point of these lessons is to make students recognise diversity and appreciate the things each individual has to offer, not to target and ascribe an identity to any member of the class. In the first teaching episode, I would look at how do we perceive difference. To introduce the topic, I'd show a large composition of images of famous and historical figures and ask the students what these people have in common. The people would all be of homosexual or bisexual orientation. Look at how these characters are constructed. Do you think they are accurate representations of gay and lesbian people, or of difference? The inclusion of figures like the character Kurt from Glee, for instance, would use popular culture to spark a student's interest. Then I would link the student's identification of the sexuality of these figures to show them how sexuality forms a major part of a person's identity and could be considered an important axis of identity along which there are varying zones of difference. I would then encourage students to reflect on their own feelings on gender, sexuality, and why they've developed the opinions they have. The students can keep these ideas to themselves for reflection in the last lesson in the course, and then, if they wish, they may share these ideas and any changes that have occurred later in the course. The next teaching episode would examine the concept of individual and collective identities. Here I would show the gay marriage advertisement again and with the class analyse it to reveal the hidden curriculum contained within it. This analysis could form a strong foundation for discussing how minority groups are openly and often visibly discriminated against in our community. The students would be asked, can you relate to this collective Australian identity as proposed by this ad and by Julia Gillard, which opposes gay marriage? Would you consider this ad an accurate reflection of a collective Australian identity, the community identity within the school, for example, and your own individual identity? Students will be encouraged to reflect on what aspect of their identity makes them different and whether they have ever been ostracised or participated in the negative othering of someone else. They'll also be asked, what does it mean to be different in the school environment and in broader society? What makes one person more or less valuable than another, and how do you feel about this? And how are these ideas reinforced? There are many different activities that could be used throughout this curriculum. I recall my own schooling experiences as being most interesting and thought-provoking when there was a whole class engagement in passionate discussion about a topic. I have considered, however, that in order for the entirety of the class to benefit as equally as possible from these lessons, different styles of learning need to be accounted for. The visual learner, for example, needs pictures and graphs. Those that learn through doing may engage in role-play activities, like pretending to intervene in a bullying situation, perhaps. There are many activities that could be undertaken, which include engaging in a structured debate where students are required to argue a case from different perspectives, analysing newspaper, magazine or media articles from varying perspectives on sexuality, looking at statistics regarding youth depression, for example, especially as it relates to sexuality in youth, and compiling a report on this issue, engaging with electronic resources like YouTube and other websites to engage their critical literacy skills and ICT skills, and analysing images to uncover that hidden curriculum that I mentioned earlier. Another activity could include writing a pretend diary detailing an episode of discrimination or marginalisation of a young gay person, exploring how you would feel about and react and cope with being in that situation. For any student that struggles to engage their own self-reflection, they could be assigned a historical or famous homosexual personality to write a biography about. All of these activities could be recorded on film and documented in order to be uploaded to the Thinking Outside the Box blog. The students could then have a visible reference point to refer to in the future and see the results of their hard work. The final lesson in the course would consist of undertaking a personal reflection on identity and identity formation, and how when we are empowered with education on a topic, we can overcome the negative connotations of difference and dominance that may be associated with it. I believe that these lessons could be adapted to analyse other points of marginalisation like race, gender, class, or disability. The activities incorporate critical literacy skills in alignment with the subjects of English and history. Moreover, the students are actively fostering an environment where forms of difference are celebrated and appreciated. These lessons help equip students with the confidence, knowledge, and coping skills required to overcome prejudice. Education is a powerful tool, and these activities show how it can effectively mediate difference and dominance. This concludes my presentation. A list of references follows. Thank you for watching.